Express. Tinubu arrives Benue over Yelwata killing. In business, CBN dividend ban rattle bank stock, stirs recapitalization fears. And on the foreign scene, Iran arrests 5 over tarnishing country's image. In sports, federal government urged to partner private sector for sports development. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has arrived Benue State on a one-day visit to commensurate with the government and people of the state over the recent killings. During the visit, the president is expected to hold meetings with key stakeholders, including traditional leaders, political leaders, religious figures, community heads, and youth representatives. The engagement aims to explore lasting solutions to the recurring hostilities. In the meantime, Benue State House of Assembly has attributed the widespread killings in the country to the security agencies' half-hearted approach to the issue, urging the people of the state to remain vigilant and defend themselves within the ambit of the law to safeguard their lives and properties. It also requested Governor Hyacinth Alia to declare 3 days of mourning in honor of victims of the Yelwata massacre and activation of anti-open grazing law in the state. President Bola Tinubu has commissioned new national headquarters building for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Abuja. The president says the project aims to enhance the commission's operational capacity and reinforce public trust in the country's democratic institutions. Godwin Sunday has the details.
Standing beneath the sun at the Zambezi Crescent site, President Bola Tinubu says the project is to strengthen democracy, the independence of the institutions, and the future of electoral integrity. It says INEC, which has long struggled with the limitations of an overstretched and outdated headquarters, is now set to receive a modern annex equipped with state-of-the-art facilities, including a 1,000-seat auditorium, advanced IT infrastructure, and for the first time, a museum chronicling Nigerians' electoral history.
It is a great honor and set of purpose that I stand before you today to flag up the construction of a new national office, the annex of the headquarters of Independent National Electoral Commission, right here in Abuja. Today's ceremony is not merely about bricks and mortar. It is about the strength of our democracy, the independence of our institutions, and the future of our electoral integrity.
Speaking at the event, the Independent National Electoral Commission Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakub, described the new project as a special occasion and a milestone in INEC's institutional development and evolution. He explained that the annex would serve as a complement to the current headquarters rather than a replacement.
The main building opposite the present site shall remain the national headquarters of the Commission. When completed, the new building will complement the main building. For me personally, this is a very, very special occasion. After almost 10 years of persistent effort, the construction of the INEC Annex building is finally a reality.
The new complex is being constructed by the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, under the supervision of the FCT Minister, Barrister Nyesom Wike, who received direct praise from the President.
I have stated the the first time that when INEC headquarters was located to Abuja, it was FCT. It is good. It says that because so many people who brought me to say all kinds of things, so it's good that you explain that. And I want to assure you that this structure will be given all the time it is required to see that during the first tenure, this project is completed.
The project comes after over 10 years of sustained appeals by INEC for more space. The Commission's current headquarters, commissioned in 1997, was originally designed to house just 500 staff and 8 Commission members. Today, the body accommodates over 1,000 personnel, 13 full-time commissioners, and 22 departments. In the days ahead, we look forward to a more robust and lucrative INEC headquarters, even in deliberating and emphasizing electoral decisions across the country. Godwin Sunday, reporting for Global Television News.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Chair of the Economic Community of West African States Mediation and Security Council, Ambassador Yusuf Tukfer, has raised concerns over the apparent inclusion of the ECOWAS member states in a new wave of United States visa restriction, describing the policy as a significant barrier to trade, diplomacy, and regional prosperity. Speaking at the opening of the 54th Ordinary Session of the Mediation and Security Council at the ministry level in Abuja, Tugar warned that such restrictions could stifle efforts to deepen U.S.-West Africa relations, particularly at a time when the region is ripe for economic cooperation and security collaboration. Tugar framed the policy not only as a diplomatic misstep, but also as an economic missed opportunity, especially given ECOWAS's vast resource base. The 17 candidates nominated by President Bola Tinubu to oversee the affairs of Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Rivers State Council Service Commission, and Rivers State Local Government Service Commission have officially declared their assets before the Code of Conduct Bureau. The leader of the Senate, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, disclosed this during the screening exercise by the Senate Ad Hoc Committee to oversee the activities of the Rivers Sole Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired. The assets declaration came on the heel of security clearance by the Department of State Services and the Nigerian Police. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, has called for urgent action to end plastic pollution. The minister, who announced this during the 2025 World Environment Day commemoration held in Abuja, said the warning became necessary as unmanaged waste contaminates rivers, oceans, ecosystem, and also contributes to flooding. Sharon Ajay has the details.
The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, says the federal government has developed and implemented a national policy on plastic waste management aimed at reducing plastic consumption, promoting recycling, and encouraging environmental innovation. He highlighted the need for innovation, noting that the potential is to create green jobs while addressing pollution. He commended youth groups and environmental clubs for their activism and encouraged more grassroots awareness campaigns to drive behavioral change.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate World Environment Day today, I would like to assure you that the federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is committed to a cleaner, greener, and more resilient environment. in line with the renewed hope agenda. We are taking decisive steps to address public pollution at all levels. The Federal Ministry of Environment has developed and is implementing national policy on plastic waste management. Our memo was approved by the Council, and we have been trying to come up with a framework for trying to implement that. We provide strategic framework for reducing plastic use, promoting recycling, and encouraging innovation in alternative use of plastics.
The President, Economic Community of West African Commission, Omar Toure, who was represented by Director for Environment and Natural Resources, Bernard Kofi, delivered a regional perspective on the crisis. Kofi revealed that West Africa generates nearly 8 million tons of plastic waste annually, with 80% of it mismanaged. He warned that this poses serious risks to public health, the environment, and economic development. He described plastic pollution as a shared regional challenge, particularly affecting coastal nations. Kofi highlighted the 2023 ECOWAS regional regulation on plastics and urged member states to harmonize legislature, embrace circular economy models, and act decisively.
Plastic pollution is not only a global menace concern, but a regional and national crisis. According to the World Bank, the region generates nearly 8 million metric tons of plastic waste every year, a figure that is set to rise by 52% in 5 years' time. In addition, more than 80% of plastic waste is poorly managed in West Africa, adversely affecting human, animal health, ecosystem, and blue economy sector, such as fishing and tourism. The plastic waste we generate are carried in rivers and from rivers to sea.
The government on our part is to enforce policies like ban of single-use plastic, and also to hold producers accountable to the very last mile of the lifespan of the plastic being produced. And apart from that, encourage circular economy, whereby our people are encouraged to recycle, reuse, and also uptake most of these plastic products by encouraging youth industries or small cottage industries to see how they can recycle. They need government empowerment, backing, and also, private sector encouragement to, like funding, to also make this happen. Government must stand firm on policies and make sure it's being implemented.
Other speakers echoed the call for unity, innovation, and sustained commitment to environmental protection, reminding attendees that Earth remains our only home. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The National Emergency Management Agency has received 147 Nigerians who voluntarily returned from Agadez, Niger Republic. The repatriation was coordinated by the International Organization for Migration in collaboration with other stakeholders involved in migrant support and reintegration. The agency disclosed that out of the 147 returnees, 103 were adult males. There was one male child and one adult female among the group. Moving on, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has announced stringent sanctions against individuals and computer-based test CBT centers found guilty of infractions during its registration and examination processes. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishak Oloyede disclosed this during a stakeholders meeting on examination infractions held in Abuja. Here is the report. The JAMB Registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, says any registrant found to have enrolled more than 50 candidates using suspicious methods will be barred from participating in any JAMB-related activity, including the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, for a period of 3 years. He added that the suspension also extends to preventing registrants from taking part in the examinations of other sister bodies such as WAEC, NECO and NAPTEC within the same period. He noted that after 3 years, the board will review each case and determine whether to lift the sanction based on the registrant's conduct.
Also identified that lack of training is the problem, is part of the problem. Federal university closest to each of the center, we will need them to re-engage the center. That is, we will not allow any of these centers to do anything with us until they bring a certificate, a letter from a federal institution closest to that center that their staff had been trained on ethical standards. That is, for instance, you are in Bayelsa, there is Federal University of Otuoke. There must be a letter from the university about training your staff on ethical standard and ethical practice. In that case, we will then allow you to continue. If you do that in 1 week, in 1 month, in 2, that's when you will continue with us.
He noted that for registrants who have enrolled fewer than 50 candidates must submit a formal letter of apology and sign a bond of good conduct to avoid future misconduct. He added that all CBT centers involved in infraction, particularly those operated by federal and public institutions, are mandated to sign a bond and provide evidence of staff training in ethical standards. Also speaking at the meeting, former Lagos State Commissioner of Police Fatai Owoseni, retired, stressed the need to tackle malpractice firmly and end discriminatory practices in Nigeria's legal system. He advocated for strict enforcement of laws against offences such as impersonation and examination fraud.
Apart from the examination malpractices, what we've done under the criminal code is forgery, impersonation. You are supposed to go to prison. Actually, when the registrar started, I said, why do we even have to call you? Because the registrar is aware.
Bashir Gumel, Deputy Provost of Chikora's CBT Center, Bubura, Jigawa State, one of the affected centers, revealed that a local committee had been set up to address infractions, and the committee reportedly summoned those individuals, secured confessions, and committed to restoring integrity at the center. He, however, cautioned about the risk of closing the center, noting its critical role as a first employment opportunity for young people in the area.
There we have summoned all of them to come for fair hearing, and we have heard all what they have done, and they've confessed that to return the integrity of our institution, this will not go like that. They have to be punished, and we promise that the mode of action that we've taken will be shared with the JAM office. And in that regard, again, our center is newly established center in the catchment area where there are very few CBT centers. Thus, we therefore more centers. If our center is closed, then where are children going for the JAM this thing?
A total of 11 CBT centers were identified for infractions by JAM. The maritime component of Operation Hardin K responded to an attempted infiltration by suspected Boko Haram terrorists on the naval base Lake Chad, located at Fish Dam Baga in Kukawa local government area, Borno State. Intelligence sources told Zagazola Makama, a counter-insurgency media expert, that the terrorists who reportedly stormed the facility around 1 a.m. attempted to sabotage newly acquired swamp buggies recently procured by the Borno State government to aid waterways clearance in the Lake Chad region. Sources said that the attack triggered a heavy gun battle with the naval personnel, with reinforcement arriving from nearby Baga. The exchange of gunfire lasted for over 2 hours before the terrorists retreated. You are watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, federal government urged to partner private sector for sports development. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now we go to the business news. The CBN's directive to suspend dividend payment by banks has triggered concerns about its impact on bank stocks and the wider economy. The move has led to increased volatility and declining share prices in the banking sector, raising fears and recapitalization efforts and investor confidence. Market players urge caution and call for a balanced approach to regulation that safeguards both the stability of banks and market confidence, thereby supporting economic growth. The new policy, issued on June 13, 2025, is designed to compel banks to boost provisions and strengthen capital buffers by addressing the burden of regulatory forbearance and ensuring full compliance with single obligor limits. Moving on, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has terminated the contract awarded to Levant Construction Limited over its failure to deliver on the Benin-Sapele-Wari Road project. The road, a major federal highway, is being reconstructed under the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme. Speaking in Abuja after a meeting with contractors handling various sections of the project, Umahi accused Levant of abandoning its section of the road despite multiple warnings and a final termination notice. Now on the foreign scene, Iran says it detained 5 suspected agents of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency on charges of tarnishing the country's image online, Iranian news agency reported. They added that the arrest has been made in the western province of Lorestan. The arrest came as Iran traded fire with Israel for a 6th day following the aerial assault of Iranian military and nuclear facilities, as well as resident areas, which it launched last week. Moscow's security chief says North Korea will send thousands of workers to help rebuild Russia's war-torn Kursk region. Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu, who held talks with North Koreans Kim Jong-un in its capital Pyongyang today, described the deployment as fraternal assistance. For months, concerns have swelled over the deepening military collaborations between the two states, following reports that thousands of North Korean soldiers are helping Russia fight its war on Ukraine. Now in sports, the federal government has been urged to partner with private organizations to bridge the funding gap in grassroots sports development, particularly football, across the country. Speaking at the finals of the Honorable Rashid Super Cup, the organizer Rashid Alao emphasized the untapped football talent across Nigeria, saying inadequate financing remains a major setback to nurturing local talents. He stressed that while government involvement is essential, the private sector must also play a key role. Former Lyon and Bordeaux striker Bernard Lacombe, who won Euro 1984 with France, died on Tuesday at the age of 72 after a long illness. Lacombe began his career with hometown club Lyon and had a brief spell at Saint-Etienne before joining Bordeaux, scoring 255 goals in total in the French top flight in 497 matches. Only Argentine Delio Onis, 299, has scored more goals in Lille. Lacombe returned to Lyon after his playing career and served as manager between 1996 and 2000. On Global TV News Express, we told you that President Bola Tinubu has arrived Benue State on a one-day visit to commiserate with the government and people of the state over the recent killings. In business, the CBN directive to suspend dividend payments by banks has triggered concerns about its impact on bank stocks and wider economy. And on the foreign scene, Iran says it detained 5 suspected agents on Israel's Mossad intelligence agency on charges of tarnishing the country's image online, Iranian news agencies reported. In sports, we told you the federal government has been urged to partner with private organizations to bridge the funding gap in grassroots sports development, particularly across